This episode is brought to you by MEXC Crypto Trading Platform. With the wild swings we're experiencing in these crypto markets, why not take advantage of the wide range of cryptos to actually trade on MEXC? Find your next moonshot and never miss another crypto gem again. And use the link below and I'll airdrop you $25 worth of Bitcoin. Visit MEXC.com for more information. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis, yeah.
Hola, G&Gs. I am Trek with 2Ks, and this is another episode of My Two Satoshis, brought to you here on CBTV. And if you don't know, I'm about to tell you a little so, right? Okay, I'm about to let y'all know what's up. The basic idea behind this is I cover some crypto stories, things that catch my attention, things that don't get enough attention in the mainstream side of the space, and I cover some non-crypto things that I find interesting, and sometimes I think people are unaware of how they may impact their life. So I throw those things out there. They could be related to geopolitics, they could be related to tech, they could be related to like finance and stuff, but nonetheless, I throw them out here and I give my 2 Satoshis on it. Basic idea. Before I get into those stories though, I do want to say thank you to the folks who are tuning in. We see the numbers are going up. There's a flow or a growth happening here. I appreciate y'all who are tapping in, who are checking out what I'm saying. And I appreciate the folks who are leaving comments, whether they be a pushback on what I'm saying or whether they're encouraging me for continuing to put out the content. I appreciate. I don't know everything. And so I do take the people who say the other things that might be opposite of what I'm saying as a learning opportunity. As well, I appreciate the folks who are doing the thumbs up and the thumbs down. I definitely appreciate you lurkers out there who say nothing and who give no emojis up or down. It's okay. I appreciate y'all nonetheless, because guess what? The algos see y'all watching. So I'm good to go on that right there. All right. So now let's jump into this first story here. And in this first one, when I saw it, I was just like, wait, what just happened? It had to scratch my head a little bit. If you've never been to Thailand, this might be a whatever kind of story. You don't necessarily get what it means, right? And I'll say it this way. If you, it's two things that now it's really like one thing, but at a time, and arguably still, it's two things that you did not do in Thailand if you went there, even as a tourist. They did not care, okay? Drugs is one thing. Granted, this is specifically about weed, and then activities involving children, that was the other thing you just did not do over there. Now, I'm not being ignorant or trying to sell you rainbows and stuff and be like, oh, but it was never there. No, those things were there, but it was definitely heavily scorned upon legally and socially. Okay. And so here you have it, that this situation happens of a older woman gets arrested for growing one plant. Now she's telling the officers, hey, I have diabetes. I'm dealing with it this way, blah, 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 blah. They don't care. She gets arrested, she gets put in a jail. There's a whole court thing. Public outcry comes into the play, which I thought that was actually interesting, that like public outcry had influence on this. This isn't a long article, y'all. Link will be in the description on this, so you can definitely deep dive on this as more as you want to. Bottom line is, beginning of the month, this situation happens. June 9th is when weed becomes decriminalized in Thailand, okay? As far as growing it, as far as smoking it. I haven't been in a while, so I don't know if folks started smoking it outside, like they was being really brazenly brave. Wow. Okay, because you know, those of us here in the States and in other quote first tier countries, like, man, people are being really brazen with how they smoke these days, I find. But that's just me. Nonetheless, different era, different generation. So now she's in court, public appeal happens. The head honcho as far as the law enforcement side is, oh, my officers were jumping the gun, they were being judgmental, because people were making the point of, hey, this law is about to change by June 9th. Why would you still prosecute this lady if it's about to be legal for what she was doing? How does that work? So he basically does what he does on his end. The court case for her gets dismissed, and then the people who arrested her, the 4 officers, they get in trouble and they get punished for it. Not exactly certain how much of a punishment you give them for arguably doing their job, but they got the public shaming for it, at least. So now you have it, she's out, back to doing her whole weed thing, treating her diabetes, and the society as a whole will definitely, at least in my opinion, change off of something like this. Like I said, like drugs was a big no-no thing when I was there in 2017, and I don't know how things played out, especially like when we went to the 2-year period of the C19 thing, but whatever. I'm gonna move on to this next story because I feel like I'm beating the horse. There's a protocol called PoolTogether, which basically they're saying they're a DeFi product, and they are offering a product that is based on a financial instrument that is out of the olden days in UK. And it's this like kind of bond deal that incentivizes people to buy and save bonds. They basically incentivize people to save their crypto with them, and they get a reward for doing it. It's not a everybody everyday thing. There's a little bit more details to it. You can definitely read in on this protocol and what it does if you are interested. This is not me endorsing PoolTogether. This is just me saying they're in a lawsuit right now that is asking the question of who is responsible when a protocol goes wrong or it is against what is already established law. There's a gentleman in this lawsuit named Joseph Kent, and they make the connection to him being connected to Elizabeth Warren because he used to be her technician person. I'm saying it wrong. I had to read 2 articles in order to even get that far, because the way that CoinDesk wrote it, you don't get what the backstory is in connection to him to her, and I had to do a little bit more running around to find. But the basic idea is he all of a sudden deposits $10 worth of a crypto into their platform protocol and then turns around within 48 hours and sues them. Yeah, if that shit don't sound coincidental. If we all, no, we're not all on the same page. We're not. I understand this. I was about to say something stupid. If you listen to what Elizabeth Warren has been pushing out as talking points, Mr. Kent here is using the same talking points as her as to why cryptocurrencies is a bad thing and why this particular platform called PoolTogether is a bad thing. Basically environment, basically it's gambling, which he set up the lawsuit in New York State. That's a heavy state as far as the district court thing to do lawsuits in. So that will definitely have a ripple effect across the nation if he wins his position, which then brings me to the question of, let me get close on this one. What about Reggie's patent? I'm gonna say it again. What about Reggie Middleton's patent? If this guy's case helps find as precedent who is responsible, he has a number of people named, and he has the VC invest groups named in this lawsuit because they're the ones who back PoolTogether protocol. If he wins this case, you then have it that does this open up the door for Reggie to come in and be like, they violated altogether from the get-go because they were using IP that they didn't even own. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm just saying the link for the article on this will be in the description, and you can definitely dig a little bit deeper on it. Like I said, like when I read it, I was just like, oh man, this is more than coincident. I think there's a certain level of how they're, I don't know who they are, but I think that arguably there are movements that are going to happen through civil court, not necessarily jumping into criminal court, that will work to bring more regulation into this space. This is an example of it. Just saying. Oh, here's what the Wall Street Journal article looks like. I'm gonna have the link for this in here too, so you can definitely jump and deep dive on that as you please. Now, jumping into this next story, which is also gonna be a shorter one. Middle Eastern crypto exchange Rain lays off dozens of employees, a report says. Now, the time that this comes out is the beginning of the month. If you've been listening to what I've been saying over on Gentlemen of Crypto, when I do my weekend crypto joints, I cover some stuff going on with layoffs and different exchanges in the space talking about downsizing. Ironically enough, Coinbase hits you with no, we unhired people. Excuse me? When did we get to this woke double speak about you just fired people? And that's what you did. You let people go. You downsized your staff. Now, why I'm making this connection of this story right here is because this was not one of the stories that got covered because it happened at the beginning of the month. The Coinbase story was literally like last week, and that was with Gemini and another exchange out of Latin America somewhere. I can't remember right now. My point being is that X amount of what was said as to why was the talking points of, hey, the crypto winter is coming. We have to strategize and prepare for what's going to happen when the market goes down, or at least does a more of a low than what we would need to be a sustainable business. The basic idea of why I'm bringing this up right now is because it's not just a us over here thing. It's not just us in the States. This is happening globally. It might not be talked about that way, but it is something that goes into the bigger economic picture. I highlighted this, but I basically already said what it was in relation to about the layoffs, which is crazy, like 10%. And the way that they were, like CoinDesk was trying to figure out, like, well, how many employees did they have? Either way, like a number of people about to lose their job. That's what's going on. And as far as where this financial institution sits called Rain, and what's the Coinbase connection, because there is a Coinbase connection. They were raising money from different investment funds on the back end, and Coinbase happened to be one of those. And so that's why CoinDesk makes the connection between Coinbase and the financial institution Rain. Okay. The other thing behind this that kind of gets me is it's like a ripple effect going out all around, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens after this, because I think that they're probably positioning themselves to do the same thing that Coinbase was looking to do, which was when other companies start going under, they're going to start buying up. That's at least how I'm looking at it. But nonetheless, though, here you have it. That was the last story. It was not really long, and the link for it will be in the description. Plus, you can just always go to Coinbase on your own and dig around on stuff. Anywho, let me get to the closing of this. Last couple of things being is, one, we're doing giveaways for the Blockchain Futurist Conference, which will be in August in Toronto. And so if you are either already in Toronto or you plan on going to Toronto, you might want to tap in to these live streams that we do for the members of the CBTV channel and see if you got this opportunity to get a free ticket. And if you don't get the free ticket, we also have, or at least I have, and CB has the opportunity of where you can get a ticket for half off using the referral code, my name, which is TREKK, and then you put 50 on it, so that's 50, and that gives you 50% off of the ticket. So just saying, opportunity is there for you to still be able to make it in. You know, when we get up there, we can catch up, have an hola, and talk about some crypto stuff, non-crypto stuff. I'm okay with it. And then, as I say, folks, it's things happening, and the bottom line is you might not see how it relates to what's going on in your life, but it doesn't mean it doesn't impact your life. So that's why I share these stories. Sometimes they're related, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's just about being aware of things. All right, I'm just rambling at this point right now. Last things to say is I am Trek with 2Ks, and this is My Two Satoshis, brought to you here on CBTV. And if you don't know, now you do, because you already watched the whole episode. All right, y'all. What?